Hello, everybody. This is the Catholic Esquire. So, this week we heard the stories of more traditional priests getting canceled by their bishop, this time in Covington, Kentucky. If you haven't heard the story, just Google that. A Bishop Eifert canceled two very popular and well known traditional priests for criticizing the new Mass, the Novus Ordo Mass. Uh, in the fallout from this unjust punishment, there's been much talk about unity and the idea that when you talk about truth, when you raise concerns about obvious reality, like all the problems with the new Mass and the Novus Ordo Mass and the post Vatican II Church, that somehow you're violating the principle of unity within the Church. This is what I want to talk about today, my friends, because this is another trick of the modernists. It's a trick of the liberals. And it's not one just limited to the Catholic Church, honestly. This is actually a well known tactic that others have used, including uh, communists and progressives and liberals in the political world, and even in the Republican Party. As many of you have heard before, I used to be um, pretty involved in the Republican Party at pretty high up levels here at the state level. I got to know all the players, and I became aware of um, a lot of corruption, incompetence, and I called them out on it. People at the highest levels in the state party, actually. Uh, we had a fellow here who was the chairman of the state Republican Party, who I know was a bad person, not someone that could be trusted. I called him out on it, and of course, all the rank and file, well, not necessarily the rank and file, but many of the other Republicans in the higher echelons of the state party apparatus accused me of engaging in circular firing squad, of being divisive, causing division. So turns out that I was completely right. He ended up being charged federally, losing his law license for corruption and stealing money a few years later from a political organization. But the point is, and the reason why I bring it up is there's nothing new under the sun. Uh, Accusing people of being divisive or not promoting unity is a tactic to emotionally manipulate you into shutting your mouth. What they want you to do is be quiet, go along with the program, and just accept your abuse. Uh, Unity, especially, is a powerful thing in the Catholic Church, and the modernists know that. Why? Because we understand that Christ created one church, one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. And so when you accuse someone of being divisive or not in union with Francis, it's supposed to strike a dagger into your heart, and it's supposed to really make you fear that perhaps you'll go to hell. Uh, and it's a way to emotionally manipulate you into shutting up. So I just wanted to remind everybody the point of what unity is, and that it's not supposed to be used as a cudgel um, to force people into accepting lies and untruths and perverted, disgusting actions by people who claim to have authority. What it's actually supposed to do is three things, at least in the context of the Catholic Church. When we talk about unity and union with the Pope, what are we really saying? Unity of what? Well, in unity, communion with the Pope, but what's the point of that? There's three things. We have to have unity of faith, governance, and communion. Now, you have to have all three. I can't be in communion with someone who doesn't have faith. And that's the primary issue here. I can't be subject to someone's jurisdiction in canonical matters who doesn't have the faith. If some Anglican bishop orders me to do something, I could care less. He may think he has jurisdiction over me, but he doesn't, because I don't have any communion with him. We don't believe in the same things. It's a different faith. And the same thing is with the modernists. I have nothing in common with Francis. Nothing. I mean, I'm assuming he might have been baptized Catholic, but he doesn't believe things that are Catholic. We don't have or share the same faith. So I can't possibly be in communion with Francis, whether he's Pope or not. It's impossible. Unity, faith, communion, and governance, they all go together. That's the point of the papacy is yes, we want to be in union with the Pope, who is the standard of unity of what? Of faith, governance, and communion. So that we know that all Catholics are supposed to believe the same things. And all Catholics are subject to the governance of the Pope, yes, who believes in Catholicism. So unity means absolutely nothing when you're talking about someone who is teaching a different faith, believes a different faith, because you can't have union and communion and governance with someone who doesn't share the faith. So, my friends, when someone calls you divisive, engaging in circular firing squad, they calls you a Protestant, maybe because you don't have union. Remember, Luther didn't have union of what? He didn't have union of faith. He didn't even believe in the papacy itself or the church. Well, believing in the church is part of what you have to believe in, is to be Catholic. Yes, you do have to believe in the church. You have to believe every other aspect of the faith. Luther didn't, but if you're a good Catholic, you do. And so when people criticize you and call you Protestant, call you Luther, they call you names, they call you divisive, circular firing squad, all those silly things, don't let that bother you. Just remember that what matters is the faith. What matters is the salvation of souls. What matters is that you are in communion. You're in communion with all of the prior popes, with all of the prior dogmas of the church as taught by the councils and the magisterium. You share that faith with all the millions and billions of Catholics that came before you, before the Second Vatican Council. So you are in union. You do have communion. And unfortunately, we need people in the hierarchy too as well, so we can have union and governance once again. But until that time, we are in a state of crisis, and we must do what we have to do out of necessity to keep the faith, defend Holy Mother Church, and our Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you for listening again, my friends. Please share the video and subscribe to the channel. That really is helpful and useful. God bless.